Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 Early Access. Yes, indeed, we're back with Allarielle and the High Elves going to be taking on the Greenskins, led by Gojira. So let's go ahead and get to the army compositions as the skirmish phase is already underway here. We've got Allarielle up on her eagle. She's got the Seed of Avalorn, or Star of Avalorn, of course, Arcane Conduit, Arcane Unforging, Earthblood, and Banishment, as well as the Shield Stone of Isha, which gives her that 12% physical resistance area of effect. In terms of the rest of the army, we've got two groups of Shadow Warriors over here. These guys are a new unit that come along with the Queen and the Crone DLC. They're a 360-degree shooting, ranged unit that's pretty decent melee, similar to something like a Deepwood Scout, except I think they have slightly better combat stats. Overall, a pretty good unit in a multitude of different matchups. Their nice thing is, of course, they can shoot while they're moving, so very, very useful utility unit in that respect. We've also got two units of Illyrian Reaver Archers and the Regiment of Renown Illyrian Reavers, or sorry, 4 units of Illyrian Reavers, including the Regiment of Renown. Heralds of the Wind, you guys will be seeing a lot of these guys. They're a very, very strong Regiment of Renown. We've also got 2 units of Lime Princes in their regal green garb. And then way at the back here with their backs up to this kind of little Stonehenge here, we've got the Puremain Company Regiment of Renown White Lions and the Regiment of Renown Lothern Sea Guard, the Storm Riders. So the Storm Riders cause fear. They also can fire while moving. They can't fire in 360, but they do have juiced up combat stats, of course, in particular 56 melee defense, which is quite good. Of course, the Puremain Company, they have Armor Sundering, and they also have the Guardian trait. So, yeah, good stuff overall. If we go ahead and take a look at Gojira's army, he's got a couple Spied Riders on each flank. He's got the Mangy Marauders over here with a couple of Nasty Skulkers as well. Main line is a mix of Orc Biggins with Black Orcs in the center. He's also got a couple of Savage Orcs. Leadership Core is going to be a Night Goblin War Boss with the Tormentor Sword. He's also got the new and improved map-wide Wah, and he's also got Spite of the Bad Moon, backed up by a Gobbo Big Boss and a Night Goblin Shaman. Overall, I think this is a matchup that's still going to be relatively tough for the High Elves. You can see we've gone with very much a kind of skirmish hit-and-run style strategy, something you would maybe more expect of the Wood Elves. But the fact that we have Dragon Princes, which are, you know, one of the premier heavy shock cavalry in the game, definitely beats out Wild Riders of the Wood Elves, and we also have access to Allarielle herself, of course. So you can see Dragon Princes clashing with these Spider Riders. The Spider Riders are definitely in the wrong neighborhood altogether here. That being said, there are some Nasty Skulkers on station, so we're going to have to be careful. Likewise, over here, this Nasty Skulker, unfortunately, just blew its Smoke Bomb, was just barely out of range, and now we're going to come in. The Heralds of the Wind, especially the Regiment of Renown Reavers here, have really good combat stats, so we're going to come in on an Alpha Strike here. Both units just charge order and run right in. Likewise, these Dragon Princes going to be just charging straight into the face of those Biggins. You can see they do a ton of damage. Gojira doing a great job following up, though, with these Spider Riders, so as I try and pull away here, it's going to be pretty tough for me. Likewise, on the other side, just kind of cycling in and out with these Dragon Princes. We're going to hit them with a quick Earthblood, then turn around and charge right back through. If you can get a clean charge onto Skulkers, because they have low armor, pretty squishy unit overall, you can do a ton of damage that way. You can see the Greenskins are pushing forward, though. We've got this tiny little infantry force here that's just holding the hill, dreading the advance, but we've been able to shatter that one unit of Skulkers. The Spider Riders definitely taking the bad end of this engagement, and the Shadow Warriors also continuously just kind of skirmishing over on this flank, firing in as these Dragon Princes kind of charge in and then retreat. Currently doing some nice damage to the Night Goblin War Boss. We've also got that Overcast Arcane Unforging to give him some additional recharge time on that Tormentor Sword. Meanwhile, these Illyrian Reavers absorbing the charge a little bit here in the front line. We're going to send these White Lions, or yeah, the White Lions here, Puremain Company, forward to take on some of these Black Orcs. Of course, Black Orcs definitely have, let's see, their charge bonus is better, so they should win on the charge, but the Puremain Company will do pretty decently in this particular engagement. That being said, there are 2 Black Orcs stacked here, so it should be rough for the White Lions. We're also using the Star of Avalorn here to try and keep these Dragon Princes in the fight. They're fighting Biggins and Savage Orcs, which isn't ideal, but we're almost out of ammo on these Shadow Warriors here. Likewise, kind of doing some hit and run. The Storm Riders with their high melee defense will definitely be able to hold out for some time here. They're also in guard mode, so they'll kind of continue to shoot even though they're engaged in melee. Likewise, we've got the Allarielle Reavers on station to do some cycle charging and firing in from the flank. So a little bit late there. Gojira just now popping off the wall. Map-wide, it would have been a little bit better to do that right on the charge, but still, it is going to give him a nice timing burst all the way across the map here. And yeah, things are getting pretty desperate for me. You can see the balance power starting to turn against me here, as a lot of these units are using up the last of their ammunition. Likewise, that looks like that itchy nuisance being dropped there. Those Dragon Princes have been routed off. That being said, Storm Riders are holding strong. Pure Main Company unfortunately did a lot of damage to one unit of Black Orcs, but also got chased off themselves. And these Allarielle Reavers over here are also having a pretty rough time. Looks like the Gork will fix it here, debuffing their speed. Combined with the poison from the Spider Riders will allow these guys to, or won't allow them to escape rather. But coming in with a quick hit and run charge with these Dragon Princes, just trying to ping pong around as much as possible. Things might look a little bit desperate here, but of course Allarielle allows you to weather the late game very, very well because she just has so much healing between the Earthblood and the Star of Avalorn. Another nice thing about Allarielle as well is she has pretty solid combat stats. Looks like I was about to dive down and Gojira popping the Tormentor Sword just a little bit prematurely before Allarielle actually hit the ground. But as soon as that drops, I'm going to drop down and try and snipe out this War Boss. Allarielle has superior combat stats, or actually looks like about equal combat stats to the Night Goblin War Boss, but with her 62 charge bonus, she'll be able to get in here and get some good work done. You can see the Night Goblin War Boss, pretty squishy character, is going to get routed off by Allarielle there. So bringing down the leadership of the Greenskins has brought the balance power back in my favor a little bit here. Now we're just trying to finish off whatever mobile units he has left to be able to cycle charge the rest of this out. Again, just dropping more Earthbloods here, trying to keep these Storm Riders in the fight. They're fighting Black Orcs at this point, which is definitely not ideal. These Shadow Warriors, after using their ammo, have just been tying down all the units on this side. They won't necessarily win against things like Savage Orcs, but they'll be able to hold their own for at least some time here. And the Mangy Marauders are going to get a charge in here, but the Shadow Warriors, with their pretty solid combat stats, should be able to turn around and do relatively well there. Meanwhile, Dragon Prince is cleaning up routing units. Likewise, the what are these guys? The Heralds of the Wind here. Nice itchy nuisance, but they are going to be able to finish off those Orc Biggins. The last Star of Avalorn being used here on these Dragon Princes, fighting these Biggins. They're definitely wearing them down over time, but it is pretty rough. We're definitely taking some damage in return. That being said, we have shattered the Night Goblin War Boss. Unfortunately, we didn't actually finish him off. Would have been nice to do so, but shattering him is good enough for me. So we're going to go ahead and bring Allarielle back and then just start to ping-pong around to a lot of these routing units. I did manage to break away with the Storm Riders here, and we're going to be running away from those Black Orcs, just trying to kite out a little bit. You can see these Shadow Warriors over here actually performing pretty admirably considering they're up against overwhelming superiority. That being said, they are getting routed off there. They will probably be able to get away and rally though. And yeah, in this late game situation, it's just all going to be all about getting that surround. You can see the Pure Main Company have rallied and got back in this pocket, which is very, very important, as it's going to sunder the armor of these Black Orcs and other units in this pocket, which means then when the cavalry charges in, and even like Allarielle herself, for example, they're going to do a lot more damage with the armor sundered here. So yeah, you can see they're actually able to rout off all these Black Orcs down to only 80 armor, and so on. All the units in this pocket routing off now, and that's going to allow Allarielle to turn her attention to the nasty little Night Goblin Shaman here, who's been continuously doing that sneaky stealing, draining her power recharge rate. But at this point, there's not much to protect him. So yeah, you can see the Storm Riders over here unfortunately did get caught. They managed to get off a couple volleys there, but are going to get sandwiched now between Black Orcs and Mangy Marauders and so on. So yeah, they definitely met their fate here, but they've bought enough time for us to clean up the other side of the battlefield at the very least. You can see the Shadow Warriors, I believe, also did rally, so they're going to be coming back to the fight here shortly as well. And now, for the first time, the balance of power has finally tilted in my favor, as we have been able to rout off that Night Goblin Shaman there and a lot of the units from this pocket. So we're going to fast forward a little bit through this late game situation as I kind of clean up some routing units here and start to reform for a final engagement here. But very well played to Gojira. It was a super fun, super long battle. Of course, just by the nature of my build, it was probably going to be a long battle anyway. But yeah, I definitely still think that the Greenskins potentially have the upper hand in this one. It's tough to say, you know, with such a closed group of people to play with. I don't necessarily want to pass too much judgment yet. I definitely think some of the High Elves' new tools are going to help them quite a bit in this matchup, but I think that you're still going to go relatively similar to how you did before, with a lot of Dragon Princes and so on. The new Allarielle Reavers are definitely really nice in this matchup. I also like Shadow Warriors quite a bit here as well. But yeah, we'll watch as these guys come in for a late game engagement here. Looks like a little bit of a feint on that Gobbo Big Boss, and then letting the Dragon Princes. They're also looks like they're going to feint away just a little bit here. We're trying to finish off this Shaman so he doesn't come back from routing. So we'll fast forward a little bit further here, as there's going to be a little bit of a delay in the action. And now finally we're coming in. Savage Orcs are exposed on the flank, and they're going to be the most vulnerable to shock damage because they have no armor whatsoever. One final Earthblood coming in, keeping these Cav nice and healthy here, and we're going to come in for the final charge. Looks like actually cycling back out. Allarielle comes in, gets a couple of attacks on that Gobbo Big Boss. It looks like she's actually going to push through with a nice fancy animation here, chucking that orc up in the air and charging back down through, and it's enough to break the leadership of the Greenskins, and the High Elves take a very Pyrrhic victory there. Very, very Pyrrhic victory, but a victory nonetheless, so I'll take it. Yeah, very well played to Gojira. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like I said, it's a little bit of a Wood Elf strategy almost, that kind of very aggressive missile kind of kiting strategy, except that you have the advantage of having one of the best shock cavalry units in the game in Dragon Princes, which the Greenskins tend to struggle with somewhat. Gojira, actually, we had played this matchup several times, and yeah, I definitely think the Greenskins still somewhat have the upper hand. They're one of the best swarm factions in the game, and they also have a lot of really nice unit variety, a lot of different ways of attacking you, so it's going to be tricky, but I do think, like I said, the Shadow Warriors help quite a bit in this matchup. I do like the Storm Riders here as well, and of course the Pure Main Company I think are going to be a staple in most matchups. Excuse me. Heralds of the Wind, you can see, got 119 kills. These guys are a force of nature, quickly becoming one of my favorite units in the game. Dragon Princes, of course, doing what they do, 150 kills apiece. Chevrons all around. You definitely would hope to get your work done from them, as we were up against a huge force of Greenskin infantry. I mean, we were pretty severely outnumbered there just in terms of numbers, but able to just kind of cycle charge a lot of these units. For Gojira, none of these units actually picked up XP chevrons, and that's kind of the gamble with the Night Goblin Warboss. He has the Tormentor Sword, which is a super useful ability, and he's cheap, both of which are very nice, but he's pretty squishy. Even someone like Allarielle can goon him pretty effectively, so between the one I only cast the one Arcane Unforging and then just engaged him in melee, and Allarielle was able to beat him down pretty effectively, so a little bit of a risk there. You know, Wurzag and Azag are arguably more competitive lords, but I do think the Night Goblin Warboss is a pretty solid pick. I think those three are going to be your main Greenskin lords. Occasionally you might bring the Gobbo Great Shaman just for a laugh. Grimgor and Skarsnik, unfortunately, are not super competitive right now, so hopefully we'll see some changes for them in the future, but as it is right now, I definitely think that the Greenskins have a pretty solid shot in this matchup, if not the advantage, but definitely some of the new tools for the High Elves, bringing that back a little bit. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this kind of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you once again for watching, and we'll see you next time.